Hold up. Why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, then hold your breath and face your death. Cause you play a roulette with each step. I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bet.
Welcome back, y'all. This is the Double M Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jesus Dinero, here with my co-host,
Puma El Gato.
What do we got going on tonight, my man?
UFC 321 ending in a no contest via eye pokage by Cyril Gane. Let's talk about it.
So, man, listen, I've seen a lot of takes by a lot of different people, the Chael Sonnens, DCs, obviously a bunch of different MMA fighters, a bunch of different fans. And listen, last night there was not one single winner except Jon Jones. Jon Jones is the only man that won last night. I go back and watch the video that I did of how he needed, Tom Aspinall needed to win this fight. I said in there, if he doesn't win and win dominantly, Jon Jones is going to come out and immediately troll. And that's exactly what happened. Just like I told y'all, I also said the Jon Jones fanboys were going to come out and immediately troll. That's happened. So on and so forth. And listen, man. The reason I had said that he needed to win and win in dominant fashion is not just because of the Jon Jones trolling. That's minor. But because people are going to start asking the question that now everybody is asking. Could he have really beat Jon Jones? I'll be honest with you. Based on the performance, I don't think so. I said that before. Even before this particular performance. I said it in the previous video, the one that I was just talking about. I said that I didn't think Aspinall could beat Jon Jones. Listen, regardless of how you feel about Aspinall and Jones did in fact duck. I'm not going to sit here and fanboy about it. He did duck Tom Aspinall. That being said, listen, it was not at all what Aspinall wanted. Listen, I understand it was definitely a deep eye poke. I understand there was two. The second one is what really ended everything. And it was a deep eye poke to both eyes. Completely, I'm not going to fight that whatsoever. I completely understand. It bothers me that it had to go this way because he needed to look good in this fight. First of all, it's not the deepest division to begin with, the heavyweight division. So he needed to look good in this fight to potentially revive the possibility of a Aspinall v. Jones. Now it's going to be even further from our grasp because Jon Jones is going to say what everybody's been saying. You really think that would have beat me? Francis Ngannou, he dominated Cyril Gane. Jon Jones, he dominated Cyril Gane. Tom Aspinall needed to dominate Cyril Gane. And Cyril Gane just was putting it on him, if I'm being quite frank. I understand there was a total of maybe 3 more punches thrown by Cyril Gane, so it wasn't like some insane shutout. But take a look at the pictures. I'll throw it up on the screen. A bloodied Tom Aspinall is not a good look if you're looking to fight who many consider the GOAT. Again, nobody won last night. Cyril Gane obviously didn't win. Tom Aspinall retained his title, but he didn't win. We as the fans didn't win because who wants to see a title match end in that particular fashion? And listen, people are going to throw blame around. People are going to blame Gane. People are going to blame Aspinall for not, continuing. But if I'm being honest, man, I think a lot of the takes that I'm seeing are really dumb takes. Chael Sonnen, he basically said, listen, man, if you're the champion, you got to go out on your shield. You got to continue the fight. Sometimes that means using one eye. And listen, I'll say this, man. I'm going to use the famous words of Habib. Go sleep. Go sleep. Did Chael Sonnen go to sleep when he fought Anderson Silva? No, he tapped. So if the whole thing is going on in shield, hey, man, go to sleep. Go sleep. So I don't want to hear from a lot of these people doing these weird, annoying takes about how Tom Aspinall should have gone out in the shield. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I get the take. If I'm being honest, I kind of agree with it. That being said, man, listen, that second eye poke, the one where he poked both eyes, that was egregious. That one was egregious, man. He got deep in there. I saw a slow-mo version of it, and man, he got in there, bro. If just be honest with yourselves. Do you guys really want to be champion, or would you rather keep both your eyes? Because I'd rather keep both my eyes. Leave the fight another day, all that type of stuff. I'm torn because I don't agree with Tom Aspinall. He did terrible in my eyes. I don't care what anybody says. He did not look good, and he needed to look good. But that's exactly why I personally said that I believe that even if Aspinall and Jones were to fight, I believe Jones would win. I believe Jones just has more tools in the belt, better game, both on standing and on the ground. I don't think Tom Aspinall would have been able to face that. Yes, Tom Aspinall is a natural heavyweight. Jon Jones had to build up for it. Yes, Tom Aspinall is the bigger guy. generally speaking. I get all that. I get all that. But it's not just about who's bigger, man. It's not just about who's bigger. A lot of different fighters have proven that. So, listen, man, we'll see what happens. I'm disappointed overall, as like a lot of you guys are. I don't know if I don't think either side is right. Gane clearly poked him in the eye, both of them, egregiously. I don't think he did it on purpose, but he did it. And Tom Aspinall at the same time, listen, man, when you're champion, man, you do gotta do a little bit more. Like, you gotta prove you're that next level. If you're champion, you gotta go beyond your limits. Fortunately, this is one of those scenarios where it's understandable, but disappointing. What do you think about that, my man?
Listen, I completely disagree with any of the takes talking about Tom Aspinall quitting on his stool. And look, everybody has seen that eye poke. Keep in mind, that was the second eye poke. It wasn't two. No. There was one more, but he was trying to stuff it. I actually clocked it. It was around 3 minutes 11 seconds left into the fight, where Ciryl Gane actually stuffed the takedown. But if you notice, he actually did stuff him by the face. And again, he had an open palm in that. And that second time around, which is, again, the one that actually stopped the fight itself, not only did he jab one eye, he dug his finger into the second eye. And look, everybody says, well, he had his eye closed. I mean, his eye should have been protected. It doesn't matter. It's an eyelid, dog. It's fleshy as hell. There's like legit no protection. You really think one eyelid is going to stop one hard right into the eye? No, it's going to cause a lot of damage, and it's going to anybody that's had their eye poked and like really had their eye poked even with their eyes closed will know there's a lot of fuzziness that happens when that sort of thing happens. And you basically are saying, okay, yeah, it's just an eye poke. It's going to get fuzzy, whatever. Okay, now you want me to go in against a heavyweight fighter? Absolutely nonsensical. And everybody's going to point out to, oh, well, Fabricio Verdum got his eye poked against Travers Brown. Michael Bisping lost an eye, and he could still continue that fight. Okay, first of all, also disingenuous. Fabricio Verdum got his eye gouged in one eye. And everybody says, oh, what about Michael Bisping? I was like, yeah, but he still lost. When you take an eye poke like that, it's still an incredible gamble if you want to continue. And you don't think months of training, months of buildup, you don't think the fighter that got their eye poked still wants to continue that match? You really want to say that Tom Aspinall really dedicated months, hell, let's be completely honest here, years of his life leading up to this moment just to go out on his stool like that and say, oh, well, he quit. All he had was an eye poke. What? You are being incredibly disingenuous right now. Do you really think Tom Aspinall, after all the smack talking he had against John Jones, do you really think he wanted to go out like that? Ciryl Gane isn't that heavy of a puncher that many people says he is. Maybe a little bit more different than we expected, but he's not that harder of a puncher. But all this to say, whether it was intentional or not, this eye poke would have put anybody out. Anybody saying that Tom Aspinall intended to do this and underestimated Ciryl Gane, I think is incredibly disingenuous. And look, let's ignore all like the, okay, we had to prove this against the trolls. I will say, I don't think Tom Aspinall had to prove anybody, or had to prove himself to the fans, but he did have to prove himself to two people. To John Jones, first and foremost, and to Dana White. And the reason why I say Dana White is because Dana White, when he said the announcement about the post-fight presser saying, unfortunately, Gane and Aspinall 2 is going to have to happen. But the comment that he said before that was a little bit telling. Dana White said, and I quote, let me pull up the quote right here. He said, quote, he had Tom bloodied up. Tom didn't want to continue in the fight, and the rematch is going to be very interesting. The words are telling right there. Dana White, the supposed booker, the president of the UFC himself, said Tom Aspinall quit, which I think is egregiously disingenuous coming out of the president. That I'm going to assume two things out of that quote. Either he didn't watch the fight, or Tom Aspinall isn't one of his boys. And let's be completely honest. John Jones is, for all intents and purposes, is one of Dana's boys. You don't think that's incredibly telling in and of itself? Come on now. We're being completely disingenuous if you were on the camp saying that Tom Aspinall quit and took his ball and ran home with it.
Yeah, man. I'll be honest with you, I didn't like that statement from Dana White either. Don't get me wrong. It's not like the statement is necessarily wrong, but the way that you portray information, especially as the supposed middle party, as a supposed impartial party, does tell a lot. And I agree with you. I do think that it's very telling of where Dana White's mind is in relation to Tom Aspinall. Listen, man, again, nobody won last night with the exception of John Jones. John Jones definitely won. I feel like it made a lot of his arguments for him. And it's not a good look. I feel like if Tom Aspinall stands any chance of getting that John Jones fight, next fight with Gane, which is going to happen, he needs to knock him out like in the first 10 seconds. And it needs to be a spectacular knockout. It needs to be something so phenomenal where it can erase the ugliness of what happened in this one, erase his bloodied face off of people's minds, erase the thought of, oh, well, he quit the first, erase all of that. It's got to be such a phenomenal knockout, and it's got to come quick that people will be like, okay, maybe he does deserve John Jones. I feel like all that being said, that's a steep hill. That's a super steep hill for Tom Aspinall to climb up. And unfortunately for Tom Aspinall, personally, I don't think it's going to happen. Will he beat Cyril Gane? Yeah, maybe he'll beat Cyril Gane. I think that's a possibility. But in a spectacular fashion, blah, 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 I don't think that's a reality. But listen, we'll see what happens, man. Again, disappointing for everybody, disappointing for the fans, disappointing for the fighters. I know, obviously, Tom Aspinall wanted to show out. He didn't. I know Cyril Gane wanted to be champion. He's not. I know Dana White and the Abu Dhabi fans, they all wanted a show. They didn't get it. Nobody won. But John Jones is laughing his way all the way to Thailand and going to be swimming and riding bikes with them pool boys. Other than that, nobody won. But listen, shout out to John Jones, man, proving you right. Shout out to everybody that is clearly pissed about the decision, because reality of the circumstances is none of us wanted it to end this way. But here's hoping we get something better in the second time, because I'm not going to lie to you guys. This is not what I want to see as far as fights. And with that, make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and
Until next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you in the next one.